World War II was not only a war of soldiers and strategy, it was a war of machines. Among these machines, tanks became symbols of power, fear, and industrial might. On one side stood the German armored giants, the Panzer IV, Panther, and the feared Tiger tanks. On the other side was the American workhorse of the war, the M4 Sherman. At first glance, the comparison seemed unfair. The German Tigers were heavily armored, powerfully armed, and terrifying on the battlefield. The Sherman, by contrast, appeared lightly armored, less powerful, and vulnerable. German crews often mocked it. Allied soldiers sometimes feared it. And yet, despite these disadvantages, the M4 Sherman did something extraordinary. It fought, it survived, and ultimately, it helped win the war. This raises an important question. How did the M4 Sherman manage to fight German Panzers and Tigers despite being technically inferior? The answer lies not in raw power, but in three critical factors. These three things made the M4 Sherman capable of standing against Germany's armored monsters.
Mass production and numbers. The Sherman was everywhere. The first and most important factor was numbers. The United States did not design the Sherman to be the strongest tank on the battlefield. Instead, it designed it to be the most producible. American factories operated at an unprecedented scale. Assembly lines ran day and night. Parts were standardized. Engines, transmissions, and components to be replaced quickly. As a result, the Sherman became one of the most produced tanks in history. By the end of World War II, over 49,000 M4 Shermans were built. Germany produced only about 1,300 Tiger I tanks. Fewer than 500 Tiger II tanks were ever completed. This imbalance changed everything. On the battlefield, German tank crews might destroy a Sherman, but another would arrive soon after, and another, and another. German tanks were powerful, but they were rare. Losing one Tiger was a disaster. Losing one Sherman was expected. The Sherman gave Allied commanders something priceless: reliability and availability. When an Allied offensive began, tanks were always present. When a unit suffered losses, replacements came quickly. When a tank broke down, another took its place. German units, in contrast, often fought with under-strength formations. Mechanical failures were common. Spare parts were scarce. Fuel shortages worsened the problem. The Sherman turned war into a battle of attrition, and attrition favored the Allies. One German tanker famously said, "We destroyed 5 Shermans, then 6 more came." This was not a weakness, it was the Sherman's greatest strength. 2. Reliability, logistics, and crew survivability. The second thing that made the Sherman effective was logistical superiority and reliability. German tanks were engineering marvels, but they were also complicated, fragile, and difficult to maintain. The Tiger tank weighed over 57 tons. Its transmission often failed. Its engine overheated. Its fuel consumption was enormous. Many Tigers were abandoned, not because they were destroyed, but because they broke down or ran out of fuel. The Sherman, however, was designed with simplicity and reliability in mind. It could travel long distances without breaking down, be repaired quickly in the field, use multiple engine types, be transported easily by ship, rail, and truck. This meant Shermans could fight continuously, while German tanks often sat idle. Logistics won wars, and the Sherman fit perfectly into the Allied supply system. Crew survivability matters. Another overlooked advantage was crew survivability. Although early Shermans were vulnerable to fire, their design often allowed crews to escape. The tank had good visibility, easier escape hatches, better ergonomics for the crew. German tanks, especially Tigers, could become death traps if hit internally. Ammunition explosions were catastrophic. As the war progressed, Shermans were upgraded with wet ammunition storage, reducing fire risk, improved armor layouts, better internal fire suppression. An experienced crew is more valuable than any tank. Sherman crews who survived learned quickly. They adapted tactics. They coordinated with infantry and artillery. German crews, once lost, were difficult to replace. The Sherman didn't just protect supply lines, it protected experience. 3. Tactics, teamwork, and adaptation. The third and final factor was how the Sherman was used. The Germans believed in tank-to-tank superiority. The Allies believed in combined arms warfare. Shermans rarely fought alone. They fought alongside infantry, artillery, tank destroyers, aircraft. When a Tiger appeared, Shermans did not charge it head-on. They maneuvered, they flanked, they called for airstrikes or artillery. American doctrine emphasized coordination, not dueling. Shermans used smoke rounds to blind enemy tanks, speed and maneuverability to attack from the sides, radio communication to coordinate attacks. German tanks had powerful guns, but often limited visibility and slow turret rotation. Shermans exploited this. As the war progressed, the Sherman itself evolved. New variants appeared. The M4A3E8 Easy 8 with improved suspension. The 76mm gun, capable of penetrating Panthers. Specialized Sherman variants with flamethrowers, bulldozer blades, and rocket launchers. The Sherman became a platform, not just a tank. While Germany focused on a few elite designs, the Allies adapted continuously. And adaptation wins wars. The Sherman versus the Tiger, the reality. In a one-on-one duel, a Tiger had the advantage, but wars are not fought in controlled duels. They are fought with supply lines, air superiority, teamwork, and endurance. The Sherman didn't need to be better than the Tiger. It needed to be good enough, often enough. And by 1945, German armored forces were exhausted. Fuel was scarce. Trained crews were gone. Allied Shermans rolled forward, supported by aircraft that ruled the skies. The battlefield had changed. Conclusion: why the Sherman mattered. The M4 Sherman was not perfect. It was not the strongest. It was not the most feared. But it was available, reliable, adaptable. These three things, numbers, logistics, and tactics, made the Sherman capable of facing German Panthers and Tigers. The Sherman represents a powerful lesson in warfare. Victory does not belong to the strongest machine, but to the system that supports it. In the end, the Sherman didn't just fight the Tigers, it outlasted them. The psychological war, fear, morale, and reality. Beyond steel and firepower, there was another battlefield, the human mind. German Tiger tanks carried a terrifying reputation. Their thick armor and long-barreled 88mm guns created fear long before the tank itself appeared. Allied soldiers often reported panic when intelligence mentioned Tigers in the area. But fear cuts both ways. German crews knew their tanks were rare. Every Tiger lost was irreplaceable. This pressure weighed heavily on them. Commanders hesitated to commit Tigers unless absolutely necessary. Mechanical breakdowns caused anxiety. A stuck or disabled Tiger often had to be destroyed by its own crew to prevent capture. Sherman crews, however, fought with a different mindset. They knew replacements were coming. They knew support was nearby. They knew air cover could be called in. This confidence mattered. Morale is a weapon, and the Sherman gave Allied forces psychological resilience. Even after heavy losses, units regrouped and advanced again. The Germans increasingly found themselves fighting an enemy that simply would not stop coming. Air power, the Sherman's invisible ally. One of the most decisive advantages the Sherman had was something the Tiger could never match: air superiority. By 1944, Allied aircraft dominated the skies over Europe. Fighter bombers like the P-47 Thunderbolt and Typhoon hunted German armor relentlessly. Tigers and Panthers were forced to hide in forests, move only at night, avoid open roads. Every movement risked destruction from above. Shermans, meanwhile, advanced with confidence. When a German tank was spotted, Sherman crews could radio coordinates and call in airstrikes or artillery. Many German tanks were destroyed without ever firing a shot, bombed, strafed, or abandoned. In this environment, the Tiger's heavy armor became a disadvantage. It was slow, easy to spot, and difficult to conceal. The Sherman was lighter, faster, and better suited to a battlefield ruled by aircraft. Industrial war, America's true weapon. World War II was decided not only on the front lines, but in factories thousands of miles away. The United States turned warfare into industrial production. Shermans were built faster than German tanks could be destroyed. Even when German factories worked at full capacity, Allied bombing, shortages of steel,
fuel, and skilled labor plagued German tank production. Meanwhile, American factories produced tanks, trucks, ammunition, spare parts, fuel. The Sherman was part of a larger machine, a global supply network that stretched from Detroit to Normandy. Germany built brilliant tanks, America built systems, and systems win long wars. The end of the Tigers. By late 1944 and early 1945, the situation had become clear. German armored forces were exhausted. Fuel shortages immobilized tanks. Experienced crews were gone. Air attacks were constant. Shermans rolled through Western Europe not because they were invincible, but because nothing was left to stop them. When Allied forces crossed into Germany itself, Tigers were rare sights. Many were abandoned. Others were destroyed by their own crews. The myth of German armored supremacy collapsed under the weight of reality. Final verdict: history's lesson. The M4 Sherman teaches us a critical lesson in warfare. Power alone is not enough. The Sherman succeeded because of overwhelming numbers, logistical and mechanical reliability, smart tactics, and combined arms warfare. It was a tank designed not for glory, but for victory. And in the end, victory is what matters.
The Tigers are remembered for their fearsome reputation. The Sherman is remembered for winning the war.